This series is intended for mature audiences. Welcome to the Weird West. Let us tell y'all a story.
Our scene opens and our story continues in Silver City, Idaho. The sun has just risen over the horizon, giving the buildings a bit of a morning glow as the familiar quiet that the early risers of Silver City get to enjoy breezes through the thoroughfare. Our scene pans away from the sunrise and off toward one of the houses on the outskirts of town. A fence all the way around it with a gate that has been ripped from its hinges. The gate is laying a few feet away. The front door is splintered and broken inward, and we see the back of a sheriff as he steps into the house through the closed but busted door and begins to look around. It doesn't take him long to see the body. The kitchen table is busted and flung halfway across the kitchen. The body looks as if it was thrown into the table with enough force to make the entire table shatter. The sheriff's boots are heard against the hardwood floor as he walks closer to the body and crouches down to get a better look. He examines the bloody wound on the neck of the victim. A bite. A bite that sure looks a hell of a lot like that of a vampire. Our next scene opens in the city of St. Louis. It has been nearly 2 years since the St. Louis massacre, and the people of St. Louis have fixed it up in such a way where outsiders to the chaos and destruction of that fateful day wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. But when Ghost Rock burns, it sticks. There's a smell to St. Louis now that wasn't there before from the tainted earth that rests below the rebuilt city. The walls have been torn down and the city is wide open to the world around it now. The hotels are stronger than ever, and some are beginning to be built up even higher than they were before. The train station thrives with imports and travelers and exports of clothing as the factories are getting built up and running. And as a train is arriving, we wind through the city until we reach the residence of Finley Ladoris and Victoria Glass. We see their names on the post at the gate, and as the camera pans over to follow the mail delivery person that is entering this gate, we see the residence itself. Cass, what does this home look like from the outside?
Yeah, it's a very humble looking home. It's sort of wedged. It's a very sort of thin looking home wedged between other thin looking homes that sort of line the block. Basically a sort of space to be able to put as many people as possible into one area. There's what looks to be like a little box of sort of herbs growing near the door. And there also sort of is a very like nicely sort of put together path that leads up to the door itself. Other than that, there's not much on the outside of it. It seems very, not barren, like purposely barren, just sort of like there wasn't need for much to be put outside. So yeah.
Yeah, and we see the door open as the camera gets closer and we see Finley Ladoris before us. Describe who we see.
Finley looks fairly similar to the way that you've seen them in the past. A little bit sort of more muscly, I think. Definitely like had broad shoulders before, but is clearly like sort of put on some weight and like has like clearly like looks like someone who's like very like comfortably like kind of grown to call this a home and lived comfortably, and not like they're constantly moving from place to place. Their hair that was once like shoulder length is now cut short, and is pretty like scrappy, almost like as if they haven't gotten around to getting it cut recently, but that they have, almost like they were keeping up with it until a certain point. They are still sort of wearing similar gear. They have a cowboy hat, but they're wearing sort of just a button down and with the like the sleeves rolled up, and there's like a little kitchen towel sort of slung over their shoulder as they step into the doorway. Morning.
Morning. The kind of tips a hat to you. The mail delivery person hands you a letter and gives you this just warm smile, like every time. Hands you the letter, turns around, and walks away whistling some tune as they are moving on to the next home. You were expecting another letter from Victoria, but this isn't her handwriting. You're handed a letter. The envelope has very different handwriting. It doesn't look familiar to you.
I think I'm gonna step back inside, close the door, and then I'll open it.
Yeah, we hear the envelope ripping. You unfold the paper. Your eyes dart to the bottom out of curiosity, and you see it's signed Maisie Taylor. And so your eyes move back up to the top, and you begin reading.
Finley and Victoria, I have been following a string of murders that I think you would both be interested in. 3 deaths per town each month. I've been trailing the murders. I think the next one is happening in Silver City, Idaho. Get here as soon as you can. I think this is gonna need some extra eyes. No, really, fucking hurry up, Maisie Taylor.
I sort of look at the letter once, and then read it again. Like as if I'm sort of like in disbelief, sort of reading it, and then I'm like, leave. But I just put bread in the oven. It's fine, okay. And then I like sort of run back and go to the kitchen. Again, the house is very humble. There is a foyer. There are 2 chairs, each with like books that are being flipped through at the moment. One has like a distinct amount of like letters and newspapers next to it, most likely Victoria's seat, whereas the other just has like a pile of books. There's a chase for if folks come over. There's a line of bookshelves, but there's more space than there are books. And then there's sort of like, as they sort of around the corner, there's a dining room and what used to be a reading nook, but has been like clearly hastily moved as like a work desk corner. There's a desk shoved into the nook that overlooks a window. There is a lot of paper sort of clippings and some other work items. And then there's a kitchen. It's very small. There's a wood stove, and then sort of basin with like a pile of papers beside it that are clearly like some recipes of sort that have been handwritten by someone. But most notably, there's like a Winchester sort of up on the wall with a gun holster next to it. And so Finley goes in, pulls out the bread, and very like quietly sets it down. It's just gonna have to sit there and just get gross. And then they grab the Winchester and the gun holster.
As they do that, yeah. As they you're taking that Winchester from the wall, the door bursts open, and Victoria basically falls through with her bag and the look of like a traveler that has just spent way too much time on a train. Her dark blonde hair is up in like a messy bun. Strands are hanging in her face. Her bags are bulky and awkward because things never fit the same way when you pack them to come home. Pale skin is a little flushed as she's apparently been struggling to get all of the bags up to the door and refused to accept help. And as soon as she sees you standing there, she kind of smiles as if comforted and says, "You will never believe what was happening and then her eyes see the Winchester that...
You'll never believe the letter we just got.
What is it?
Well, welcome home. I was going to make a really nice meal, but we should probably leave. Maisie sent us a letter. We gotta go to Idaho.
Okay. She nods as if like surrendering to the chaos that is her life, and she begins to like pull and gather up her bags again. You get packed.
I'll
I'll
run
go get
over
us.
and help.
No, it's okay. I'll get us tickets for the train out. Uh, yeah.
Sorry. It's good.
No.
I'm. How are you? Are you okay? Is everything okay?
No, everything's fine. Just what's happening in Idaho?
Apparently a trail of murders.
She
There's
seems
been three in
slightly
every
more
town.
excited.
Yeah. Here's the letter. I figured you'd be interested. We kind of, yeah. This is all that Maisie told me, so I figured it might be interesting enough.
Yeah, with you holding out the letter, she just drops all of her bags and takes the letter to read it like feverishly. With that, just as tired as she looked, hearing that there's some sort of like mystery or murders or something to solve, there's this whole new spark in her eye and she is ready to go. And as the camera kind of like pulls up out of the home, we see it kind of time lapse a little bit, moving across the country before it comes down sometime later in Silver City, Idaho. We see a train arriving, and we see Finley and Victoria departing from the train and collecting their luggage. But we don't stop there. We see this for a moment, and instead, the camera pushes through Silver City and into the woods that surround it. We push through the trees and eventually stop at a dilapidated hut, abandoned with waterlogged wood, cloth hung at the glassless windows. As the camera moves through one of the windows, we see two figures inside of the hut. Sitting across from each other at a table, we see Maisie Taylor and Luther Richter. Kristen and PV, please describe who we see as they are sitting at the table across from each other. There is the dim light of the oil lantern, and sunlight is unable to come through the windows currently.
Well, Maisie, still long red hair, but after everything that's happened to her, she doesn't wear necessarily your traditional kind of escort kind of girl outfit no more. She's, rocking leather pants and high leather boots. We don't want to get bit by nothing. And so, she's a little bit, she's stronger and a little bit more grizzled physically, but there's definitely a softness to her that no one would have registered or encountered before that Luther would now have the benefit of enjoying. But she honestly would just be heartbroken and perplexed at this point as to why there's more nonsense going on. And so she would probably be real quiet, waiting to see what's up with Luther, because she didn't necessarily expect to run into him either.
And Luther doesn't look like he's aged a day in 2 years. He's wearing expensive clothing, except like before it might have been a little more bright and ostentatious, but now it's much darker, more earth tones and blacks and that sort of stuff. He still has his intricate leather gun belts, his pearl-handled pistols, but his skin, he does wear like a bandana or whatever, like I'm wearing right now, so you can't see his teeth, but you see that his eyes are maybe a little too sunken in, and his skin's a little too pale. Like, it's just enough that it's unsettling. And there's just kind of like this little, like an aura about him that's slightly off. And he's just sitting with his boots up on the table right now, just chillaxing.
And the camera sees both of you and then kind of pans down to the newspaper clippings that are spread out on the table before you. We see clippings of the various murders in the previous towns, tracing back 5 months. As the two of you are sitting here, who breaks the silence?
Well,
I can't. Oh, well,
oh.
shit.
Well, it's
By all
nice to
means.
see it's nice to see a friendly face,
Yeah.
familiar face.
Mm, yeah. It is. I didn't think I would see you near all of this. And then she would kind of point at parts of the clippings that say words like bite and neck and that kind of stuff.
Now you're not insinuating anything, are you?
No, of course not. Not me. Ain't nothing ever happened to me before. We know that.
Well, I hear rumors and picked up on some things. I thought I'd take a look at it. I don't write cotton to someone else kind of doing my thing. Uh, that usually brings up people hunting for my type, and I don't need the crosshairs to come on me.
You been involved in any of this?
No, no, none of the murders.
Pardon me for asking. I just, you know.
Well, I try to be selective about how do I say this?
Dinner?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for putting it that way. Makes me
You're
feel a little bit
welcome.
better.
I mean, sometimes we can stand to remove the humanity from others, but not all the time.
I never ate anybody that didn't deserve it.
And somehow I believe you, so maybe I'm crazy, but
You didn't happen to get any kind of zombie powers or anything after what happened to you, did you?
Nah, I'm pretty normal.
Wow, you got out of that bargain pretty well.
Yeah, thanks to you. You came and found me.
Did what I could. I wish somebody could give me a serum, but it is what
Well,
it is.
you know, maybe this is how we get there for you.
He kind of looks off into the distance and then just says like, I don't know if I want to go back now.
Now, who am I kidding? I quit hoping for good stuff a long time ago.
So, how's about we team up maybe?
You think so? I mean, shit, I wrote a letter, but you're the best I've got right now, so we might as well.
Well, I'm glad I'm second best choice.
Well, I don't exactly go around thinking, who should I hang out with? Someone who might bite my neck and kill me any second, but
Look, I promise you that I will try my best not to bite your neck.
I think that's the best I'm gonna get from you, so we're gonna roll with it.
It's a deal.
It's a deal.
You shake hands.
Yeah, I would shake hands.
Sure.
All right. As the hands like clasp together, we then cut back over to Finley and Victoria. You have arrived. You have secured your belongings in the saloon that has quite literally 2 rooms that you could rent, total in the whole town, or in the whole, main part of town at least. What would you like to do now?
We got this far, and I'm realizing Maisie didn't tell us where to meet her. And it's a very big town.
Well,
And,
and Victoria's looking around. If there were murders, the sheriff is bound to know something, right?
that's true, but yeah, you know what? Yeah, but let's start with the sheriff. I'm hesitant too, but we can go for it. Let's just go for it.
I hate dealing with sheriff.
Yeah, yep.
They're always so uncooperative.
Typically, yeah.
Most of them are assholes, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I could probably think of one off the top of my head who might not be an asshole. So,
Oh, well. Shall we? And she just kind of like holds out her arm.
we shall. I will take it.
And the 2 of you make your way to the sheriff's office. And as you are walking in, the sheriff is turned away from you as you approach, and the camera kind of zooms in closer to him before he turns to look at you. Bob, tell us what Jesse Richards looks like now.
Jesse Richards is no longer a young boy. He is now a young man. He has worked his way from St. Louis back to his old town, but then since then he couldn't hang out there. His world was too big at that point, and he decided to strike out on his own. He has grown stronger and more muscular. He is definitely looking like a man now. Mustache, same sort of hair that he had, but he's got a vest on, and he probably would turn around if he heard somebody walking in, and you would see him wearing his sheriff's badge. I don't poke myself first.
This was the badge that I wore during the Crossroads campaign.
Sweet. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna cry.
Excuse me, Sheriff. You don't Jesse.
Finley?
You
And out of nowhere, he probably has a reaction where he runs to Finley, and if it's okay, he would give them a hug, and then immediately push back and look at both you and Victoria and said, "Oh no, not in my town. No way. You two are trouble, and whenever you're around, trouble happens, and not in my town."
All right, listen, you can drop the act, Jesse. You know why we're here. Right? Maisie told you.
Maisie?
You don't know about the killings that have been happening?
I know about a killing that happened here in my town.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. You haven't seen anybody else
from 2 years back? No.
No?
I haven't seen anybody. In fact, I was left alone once the whole fiasco happened. I was all by myself.
So, what are you doing here?
Well.
Oh, I mean, yeah, congrats. I'm sorry. Congratulations. That's definitely a big deal.
As you're talking as well, you hear the scratching of Victoria's pen as she's just
I've been here for about maybe 6 months to a year.
Oh wow.
They needed a sheriff. It's quiet. I keep to myself and take care of business.
Okay. You doing all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. This one's a little bit weird. I don't know if you've heard about it. If you guys are here to make trouble, the trouble's big.
Okay.
Well, maybe I should just show you. And if you want, I'll take you out to where we found stuff.
Yeah.
Victoria's book closes. That would be lovely, yes.
So I'll take him to the scene, and as I'm opening the door, I'll turn around and say, there was some sort of fight. Well, I think it was a fight. We found him in the middle of the floor, but there's too much damage in here to be done by a normal person.
Like
and I'll open the
I'm
door.
trying to defend myself fight, or two people arguing and then getting into a fight?
It's hard to tell. I've never seen anybody smash a table like this, or this kind of destruction in just a little bar fight. It doesn't usually happen.
All right.
So I open the door and we'll walk in. I'll tell them where the body laid, and I'll also tell them that the weird part is the neck had puncture wounds 2. Very distinct bite marks.
Well, that is unsettling, especially given what that might mean. You haven't seen Luther by chance around, have you?
No.
No? Alright.
No. I don't think Luther would have done this, but I mean, he's the only vampire I know.
What all did you do you know anything about the person who lived here?
Jack Riley, common run-of-the-mill factory worker, sort of works in town, keeps to himself, never gets in trouble, never had to come out here on occasion, really just an alone type of guy.
So maybe not fully intentional if the person who attacked was just looking for something to eat or kill. I'm going to take a look around and steer myself away from this conversation that's making me very uncomfortable to think about.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Are you, like, investigating, or are you just...
Yeah. Is there, like, anything... I'm trying to think what would be, like, the best thing to look for right now. Is there anything that's, like, been left behind on, like, a desk, letters, a bookshelf, anything of worth that, like, maybe could ascertain if, like, this was, like, connected in some way, I suppose? Like, had this person been in contact with someone that they haven't been in contact with, like, before? Or, like, have they been receiving weird things it's not the way that mail works nowadays, but, you know.
Sure. Would you like to make just a general notice roll, or do you have any sort of investigation type skill that you would like to use instead?
My notice is pretty good, so I'll just do a straight notice roll. It's just a 5.
Okay. You see pretty quickly this man didn't receive much when it comes to mail. It seems he didn't really, either he didn't have much family or just wasn't really in contact with anyone. There are a few letters, but they seem old, saved probably for sentimental purposes. It doesn't seem he was recently in contact with anyone new or anything like that. It seemed, maybe it was just a bad luck.
Okay. Well, whatever happened to him most likely doesn't seem like it was purposeful, in the sense that he wasn't targeted, which I don't know where you go from here after that. Is this the only time that this has happened recently?
Yeah. It's my first murder in quite some time.
Okay. And just to clarify, Macy's letter did say there was like 3 in every town.
Yes. And
Okay.
that she thought the next one was going to happen in this town. And upon arriving, it has happened.
Okay. I'm gonna sort of look towards Victoria and be like, do you still have Macy's letter?
She is writing and is like, yeah, and like absentmindedly fumbles for the pocket and is like holding the notebook, holding out the letter for you to take.
I will walk up. I will put a hand underneath the notebook so I can like help her, and then I'll grab the letter and I will hand it over to Jesse, for him to read. I'll be like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this might not be the only one that happens.
I will take the letter. Reading it has a double-edged sword. He is so happy to see words that say that Maisie is still alive and doing well, but at the same time, he reads that there are 3 in each of these prior towns, which means that he has 2 more that he either has to prevent or be prepared for.
I don't know where to go from here. That we might have someone on a killing spree, I suppose.
Yeah, and it sounds like I gotta...
I think you
At least
accidentally...
I accidentally muted myself. Sounds like I have to be on guard, that there's somebody coming to town and we've got 2 more to worry about.
Well, look, Victoria and I are here, and we're happy to help. I'm happy to lend a hand. Victoria, but I'm not going to speak for you, but...
Huh? What?
There's probably going to be at least 2 more killings here. If Maisie's information is correct. I was just offering some help, if Jesse wanted it, to try and prevent it.
Yeah. Anything you need, Sheriff. And she kind of like gives you a little nod. You said you haven't seen Maisie. I would really like to speak with her.
I haven't seen her for 2 years.
Okay, well, she's around here somewhere. Kind of looks back down at the notes, and at this point you hear 3 taps, like 3 knocks on the door to your office.
I'll look at the door.
Yeah, you see standing on the other side a woman. She has kind of almost like shoulder length black hair, bangs that kind of like hang over one side, probably late 30s in age. You see the mayor of the town, Mayor Regina Jefferson. She stands. She seems to be holding some sort of paper, and as she catches your eyes, she just says, I had the death certificate made up. I figured you'd want to file this."
Yes, Miss Mayor. Thank you. And I'll look at it. I don't know if I have to have it signed or anything like that, but I'll file it away where it needs to be.
And she kind of glances at Finley and Victoria. "Oh, I see we have some newcomers."
Sorry, I didn't introduce you, Miss Mayor. This is Finley Leodoris and Victoria Glass, friends from the past.
There is definitely a recognition of the names that are said, and she nods. There's a moment where like the corner of the mouth twitches just a little bit, like almost as if she's gonna have the same reaction as you did, like, no, get out of here, I don't want any of this. But there's just a little twitch, and then there's still just that politeness that's there. "Pleasure to meet you. I hope your stay is comfortable. How long are you staying?"
It's a pleasure. We don't know how long we're staying. We're just meeting a friend here. But we had heard that Jesse was here, and so we thought we'd stop by. But it's nice to meet you, ma'am.
Nice to meet you. Well, if you are here for other means, and she kind of glances at Victoria's notebook, if I can be of assistance, and she just kind of like points out across the way where you see a pretty large house. My home is right over there. You're free to knock any time. I'd be happy to help.
Thank you. I promise we won't be much trouble. And hopefully won't be staying too long.
Hopefully. And with that, she turns and heads back out. And Victoria's like, Goes back to writing.
Do you know anything about the mayor? Is she going to be an issue? Should we be worried?
I think she's just worried that this might be something more than it is.
Fair.
To be honest, I don't know where to go with this other than wait until night and waiting to see if something else happens. But would I know of that shack out on the outskirts of town?
Probably not. Or if you did, nothing would make it come to mind right now necessarily.
Okay. So we've got a dead body with puncture marks, and that's about it, really.
I mean, could we go wherever he worked? Could we go look there? Maybe someone has some information if he was followed, or I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we could do that. That sounds pretty good. We'll take him to his workplace.
Okay. As you're heading there, we cut back over to Maisie and Luther. You've just made this deal.
Yeah. So you can't really go outside, right? Like right now, that'd be a bad idea.
Yeah, I tend to get feeling a little sick, and I know for a fact that at a certain point there's a lot of flames and a burned corpse afterwards.
We don't want that to happen.
No.
And she's just gonna mindlessly like tuck her cross away a little bit more. Yeah, well, it's just because, sitting around here ain't doing us much good in terms of figuring anything out and making sure you don't get shot. So, well, I mean, making sure you don't get shot, this is actually probably a pretty good plan. But in the long run, if we don't get to going, then we might be screwed, Luther.
Well, I'm totally fine with you leaving. I can get my beauty rest, and I'll meet you in town tonight.
Sweet, that does sound like a risky choice to make. Splitting up usually is not the way to go, but you are a vampire, so
you can stay here. You want? I don't know if it creeps you out when I pass out. Sometimes I hang upside down. I don't know. People might not like that.
I haven't experienced it yet, so I can't tell you if it creeps me out, but the idea is a little unsettling. So I think the best thing that I can do for both of us is to try and find some information out. I mean, if we're just sitting here, shit, I don't even think I told Finley where to find me. Now that I think about it, I was so freaked out. But to be fair, I didn't have nowhere to stay yet either. So, get off my ass. Anyway.
Well, you could stay here. I'm just borrowing this place anyway. I roam.
Oh, don't worry,
from town
Luther.
to town.
I don't think no one wants to stay here but us. Yeah. If you are okay with me leaving, then I might try and find some information about this. What's going on around here? I don't know, but it's
sure,
not
you can
good.
Scout during the day. I'm sure it's fine. If it's anything like me, this murderer, they're gonna be in some shack or hole in the ground or something too. So
that is true. I am less likely to die if it's light outside.
There you go.
When it comes to a vampire, anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I reckon I'm gonna try and track something down then, and you can do your little loop-de-loo upside down sleepy sleep.
I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Luther. And this is a weird arrangement, and we have very interesting history with how we even met, but I want you to know that I do trust you. So
Good, and I
don't
won't let
fret
you
about
down.
that.
I won't let you
Thank you,
down.
Luther. I sure hope I don't let you down.
All
And
right,
I
then,
think go
yeah, he gets up, starts stretching, like, oh, I'm gonna get to sleep.
ahead. Jumps to the ceiling.
Yeah, if
Um,
you're there for that, he'll definitely he'll do like a jump and then be upside down and then do the classic hands over the chest thing and the eyes are like,
Suey, it really is like the picture books, huh?
yeah.
All right, well, and I think with that, Maisie would make sure, cross knives, little gun, tidy herself up and try to make her way kind of to where the action is, try to figure out, the more happening parts of St. Louis to try and glean some information, look for anything suspicious, and hopefully she'll be like, that letter should have gotten to Finley and Victoria, and they're quick, so I reckon they're probably here around somewhere. And so she would definitely like have her eyes out for them, knowing how speedy they are with getting to where they gotta be.
Perfect. As for Jesse, Finley, and Victoria heading to was it Jack? Jack Riley? Jack Riley's place of work. They could tell you plenty of information about Jack, but nothing that gave you any sort of lead at all. Like, oh, he really loved to play cards on his break. He really liked chess. He always challenged us to this, but nothing that really made him stand out as a victim necessarily. And I think probably like not finding a whole lot of information. There's probably a few different conversations happening. Like Jesse's talking to one person, Finley's talking to another person, Victoria's talking to another person. And Maisie, I think you're walking back into town as you hear the voice before anything else. You hear Victoria's voice. Victoria's not a quiet woman. Victoria's not quiet at all. And she is not necessarily like yelling at someone, but she is asking. She didn't get the answer that she wanted, and she starts accusing, like, are you keeping this a secret for a reason? Is there a reason you don't want us to know about blah blah blah, whatever is being talked about? But she is just making this man feel so uncomfortable right now, like and you recognize that as Victoria, and you look over and you do see Victoria and Finley and Jesse all here in this town.
Well, as I live and breathe, Finley, Victoria, and Jesse Richards. Maisie would shout, completely interrupting the scene. Like, no.
The moment that Victoria realizes you're there, she gives absolutely zero fucks about this man that she was talking to, and just like puts a hand up to his face, like, please stop talking, and just turns and beelines in your direction.
Thank you, sir, so much. I'm gonna sort of like thank the guy for giving us all information, and then I'm gonna turn and follow her as well.
I want to say that she's shouting from the side that Jesse has hard of hearing. So he did not hear this. He is still talking to the gentleman from the factory at this point.
Oh, excellent. That'll go over well. But she will, like, hold her arms out towards Finley and Victoria. I knew y'all'd get here real quick. I knew I could count on y'all.
As soon as I got the letter, we were out. What?
I was already packed.
I bet you probably just got home, huh?
That
Yeah,
is
but
an understatement.
You had me at the word murder.
I had me at the word murder too, especially after 2 years ago. So here we are. She's gonna look over at Jesse, not realizing that being any kind of hard of hearing is any sort of issue. And she would probably stomp over to him and just quickly to like Victoria and Finley and be like, "One moment, please. I have a gentleman who is not paying attention to me," and would walk on over, and just like tap on the shoulder.
Jesse's gonna say, "Excuse me," and turn around, and there's a moment of recognition, and he will definitely, if he sees you, he will bring you into an embrace. Like he'd never thought that he would see you ever again. He's gonna pull you away and say, "Maisie, you're alive."
Shit. She would kind of like tear up a little bit, not having mentally thought through that Jesse was one of the last people that she saw amongst everything that happened. But then she would immediately glance at the sheriff's badge. Now, we know how I get along with law enforcement here, Sheriff. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Please promise that you're going to be good while you're in town.
Okay, now for the record, Jesse, I have turned over a new leaf, so I'm going to need you to tone it down a little bit. And if you've been talking to Finley and Victoria, then I think you know that I'm a few steps ahead of you here, Sheriff.
Yes, I read the letter. And if you have any information, I'm hitting a dead end here. So if you could give me any idea what's going on here.
No. I don't think I have much of a better idea other than that it's been happening in other places. In a very succinct pattern, and that is not Luther. So I'm just gonna clear his name right here and now. So
wait, how do you know it's not Luther? I've slowly made my way back over here.
I've talked to him, and
recently?
Have you been around him during the murders?
Well, not during.
We're not accusing him of being the person.
No. And I don't think you are. And she's just gonna give Victoria a side eye of like, huh. But actually, I'm staying with Luther right now, so it's not like that. I could, bring y'all over, and it might be more productive that way. Splitting up isn't good, but Luther was like, "Oh, the sun," and so I went outside.
Jesse's processing this because that was a lot in a little bit of time.
I think there's like a solid 3 seconds of absolute silence.
Just dead silence.
Maisie has clearly not talked to people in a little bit. Like, she is desperate for socialization, so and if I'm projecting my own stuff into roleplay right now, don't worry about it.
So Luther's here in Silver City?
When did you arrive?
When did we arrive? Like at the same time, Carrie? Like,
yeah, I think you just bumped into each other like probably a few days ago.
Yeah. I've been here a few days, and we bumped into each other, and there's this shack out in the outskirts, where you can kind of hide and not be in the sun and stuff, and we're there.
I look to Jesse and I'm like, and the murder happened yesterday?
A day ago or so, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that would make sense why you were here, because you're following these murders, it seemed, from your letter.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense why Luther's here.
No.
It does. Well, hello, you see in the news all of these people being like bite necks and shit, and of course he's not gonna want people to be looking for people doing that kind of stuff, or else he's gonna get got when he's innocent. So he's got to be on top of this to clear his own name and make sure that people don't look at him too hard. Listen, I am all about stabbing people in the neck or the back when I gotta, but just take it from me that right now I think we need to give Luther the benefit of the doubt. It ain't like we have any solid evidence really pointing towards him other than he's the only neck biter we know. Right?
That's
He's the
fair.
only neck biter we know. Do y'all know anybody else?
He's the only neck biter I know. Yes.
I mean,
Same for
I've
me.
bit a few necks, but not
Well, I was
like
going to
that.
say, I don't think anyone's going to outright tell me that they are one.
Well, that's fair too.
But no
To
one's
each their
outright
own.
told me.
Yeah. I could take you to that shack, though. I mean, he's doing his little upside down sleepy sleep, but I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll be delighted to see friendly faces. She's not too sure that everyone's faces are going to be friendly.
No, I'd be more than happy to see Luther. We're kind of coming up on a dead end here, so Luther might be able to help us track something down.
He probably knows the habits better than we do, at least, or potentials.
True. Let's mosey on that way.
Sure.
Yeah, Maisie would not hesitate to lead them and would probably give Jesse shit the whole way there for becoming a sheriff and how cops are bad.
Is there any conversation other than giving Jesse shit on the way there?
I think for Maisie, she's a little in her head and very observant for her specifically. A lot has changed for her in 2 years. She's a different person, and so it's almost like she's trying to figure out who she is around these people who know past her. And so she would be watching all three of them real close, like taking personal mental notes, I think. So she'd be quiet for once. She got her yapping out upon seeing everybody, and now it's just kind of like, all right, am I gonna have to, how much do I have to defend Luther? I just said I trusted him. Like, shit, man. This is what's going through her head.
I think Finley asked Jesse and Maisie like what they've been up to. Asked Maisie the same question that they asked Jesse, like, have you seen anyone else since like the 2 years that we last all saw everybody? And then yeah, I think like probably is like the more like talkative of the group at the moment, just asking questions. Like vaguely happy to see everyone, but also like a little like unnerved because it's like the last time we were all around one another, bad things were happening. So here we are again.
I think Maisie would, she would be totally down to share like what she's been up to. She's not been up to anything secretive or weird, so she'd just be like, yeah, after I got the cure, I made my way over to St. Louis and tried to take up Katrina's model and took in some of the girls that suddenly didn't have a home or a family and gave them a makeshift family. Been doing a lot of that, trying to look out for other people the way that I got looked out for, and trying to make sure shit like this doesn't happen anymore, because I have seen the destruction that anomalies like this leave behind, and I am not particularly interested in letting that happen to anybody else. So here I am, I'm always keeping my ear to the wind in case anybody, I'm a little familiar with getting bitten by shit, and I'm not super fond of it. So if I can stop that from happening to other people, then I'm gonna. So what about you? What have you been up to, Finley? Victoria? Sheriff?
Victoria's been up to more than I have myself. St. Louis has good work no matter where you go. And I've picked up a lot of cooking and baking, which has been really nice. Jesse, if you have a place, I'd be more than happy to cook for all of us at some point. Maybe once we figure this out and there's a threat of murder.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah. I wish I could say that my time those past 2 years was just as wonderful. I was alone for most of it. I've had trouble figuring things out since that time. After I killed Josh Chamberlain, I, of course, went back home, and I felt like I didn't fit in suddenly. It was a place that I had, like I said, outgrown. I was not the same person going back to town. So I set out on my own doing odd jobs for about a year or so. I didn't tell anybody that I was sheriff capable from my old town. And eventually I made it here. They needed a good lawman, and I decided to put down some roots here by myself and took up the badge and see what life was in Silver City.
Well, if anybody can be a good lawman, it's going to be you, Jesse, so...
Yes.
For the first time, I feel comfort seeing who's wearing that badge.
You know, I get the feeling that you all have run into some very terrible sheriffs. I mean, mine back at home was not very good, but I sure hope I can turn you guys around on sheriffs.
You have
Joel's
got...
still out.
Yeah, you've got a vote in the Jesse pool, but the sheriff pool is still pretty
it's
shallow.
Still, yeah.
But
Fair
we'll
enough.
see.
Fair
you know?
enough.
Well, it seems like all of us have done a pretty good job of making a good life. Hopefully, this doesn't spoil any of that. I don't know.
Finley, you better knock on some wood. Shit, you can't just say stuff like that.
Sorry.
It's been lonely for me too, Jesse, just for the record. You know, being a leader over a bunch of people who are hella lost when you're lost too, it doesn't really bring that much comfort. I see now why Katrina liked to go on trips and get away from us sometimes, you know? So, yeah, it's been rough, but I think we've got a pretty solid team here amongst us, so.
Heck
I mean,
yeah.
with Victoria alone, hell.
Yeah, Victoria could probably lead this entire thing if she wanted to.
I mean, she might as well.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Aren't you tired? I'm gonna look over to Victoria. Like, you just got back from a very long trip.
She is like loosely leading the way now, like still looking back to make sure we're going in the right direction. But while you're straggling back and like talking, she is full trudging through, pushing branches aside,
and I would walk 500 miles.
Yeah, pretty much. She's like, tired? No, I slept on the train.
Wasn't that long of a trip, and also you were like halfway sleeping through half of it, but it's fine. Okay, we could sleep better tonight.
Yes. Am I still going the right way?
Yeah, it should be right up around here behind some of these dead-looking trees.
Great. Pushes through. She's like, man, this really reminds me of when I first got to Hope. I really need to tell you about Hope, Kansas, but another time. And pushes through, and eventually, the four of you come up to this really awful-looking shack.
Well, you know, it ain't much, but it's home sweet home right now, so,
Yeah, I mean, you can make anything a home if you try hard enough.
Oh, Luther, I'm home! She would shout, like, as a warning for this poor man. And I have friends. Your friends, too, maybe. We'll find out. Shit.
All right, so the four of you enter the shack.
Yeah.
You see Luther, I assume, hanging
Well,
upside down.
Yeah, so I'll describe this as he's upside down and his mask isn't on, and he's just hanging there with his arms across, and his eyes are open, but they're pure white, and his face looks more freaky deaky, like the Nosferatu type look, like it's a little longer, and the ears are a little bit pointier, and the skin is really pale, and then he drops down on the floor, and he kind of like, you know, cleans himself off a little bit, and his face is more back to that human-y look, where, and then he immediately puts over the mask.
Hi, Luther.
Sorry, it was a slow going this morning, or should I say day.
Oh, no offense, the jokes really aren't gonna do much. That was slightly terrifying to witness, but it's good to see you.
It's great to see you.
It was fascinating. Is it like that every time?
I can't see myself. Mirrors don't work on me, so I literally don't know what I look like.
How long you been here, Luther?
Couple days. Oh, you're sheriff now.
Yeah.
Yes,
I am.
Everyone's like, "Hey, sheriff."
What you doing, Sheriff?
Luther, I don't know if you've heard, but there's been some murders happening, from what Maisie told me.
She
and I just
points
have-
to the table with all of the clippings on it about all of the murders.
Yeah, whatever could you mean?
Victoria
well-
flocks to that table.
I was thinking that. Well, I had one here just the other night. And, he looked like he was bit
Mm-hmm. Go on.
on the neck.
Mm-hmm. And are you accusing me?
No, I did not accuse you, but I have to keep my options open right now because there's a lot of circumstantial evidence right now.
Well, let me put
mean-
it this way. I've been out for 2 years. Do you think I'd be hanging around the scene of a crime after 2 years of keeping low?
No, I don't think you would, and I believe you. I
Right.
think you're a good person, Luther. I just need to know, have you run into any others?
The last one I met bit me and turned me into what I am today.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Victoria's voice sounds kind of distant as she's looking at these clippings, but she says, "Luther, how much do you need to be full?"
Well, generally the way I've been hunting is I'll come across a desperado or a bandit or somebody deserving of a shorter lifespan, and I completely drain them, and that lasts me enough time to find the next one.
And what are your qualifications for deserving?
Like I said, bandits, desperados. Hey, Sheriff, you heard of Dakota Jim, Sam the Kid, Bill Fast Draw Clemens?
I
They probably showed
have
up
heard of
on your
all of
wanted
them.
posters.
They probably had wanted posters in my office that had
Yeah.
each one of those names.
Well, they're all dead now. I didn't
Okay.
go. I don't stick around to claim the bounties, though. I just take whatever they got and move on.
Interesting.
So you're not just, I don't know, draining random people who work at a factory in a town? You're just
Unless
not
they're a
draining.
total asshole.
Well, all right. Was Jack Riley a total asshole? I turned to Jesse.
No, he was not.
All right.
Well, there we go.
Let me ask
Okay.
you, Luther, are you in full control of yourself when you're hungry?
Well, I'll say sometimes at the sight of blood, I get a mite shaky and a little out of it, but most of the time I'm able to contain it.
Most of the time.
What happens when you can't?
I'll just kind of go kill crazy.
Hmm.
But nobody good or innocent has been in my path at that time. And I aim to keep it that way. It's why I haven't been around anybody I know for 2 years. I was hoping not to meet any of you ever again.
Well, shit, Luther, that's a little hurtful.
I don't mean it that way.
Yeah, well, it feels that way.
All right, I'm sorry.
You know, I might be tough, but I've got fucking feelings.
You know,
I'm
as
sorry.
someone who I get it. I don't mind. You could, yeah, that definitely. I wasn't ever expecting to see you ever again either. So,
Well, I wasn't either, but I'm delighted. Shit, y'all. I mean, come on.
there can
It's
be.
not-
It could be a yes and. Yes, I am very excited to see you, Luther, but I am also very happy that we haven't crossed paths until now. Although I'm still not happy why we're crossing paths.
I mean,
So-
yeah, that's fair. I don't really like the circumstances either, but I mean, geez, you know, there's just not many people that went through the specifics of a lot of the things that we went through, and so it's been a little lonely, all right? And so it's just nice to be around some folk that really get this shit is all. But fine, Luther, that's okay. I understand what you mean, and it's all right.
Sorry, I'm not. My words aren't super pretty. It's been a while since I've really talked to people. Good people.
My words ain't pretty either, but fuck. I mean,
So now that I'm cleared of this crime,
is he cleared? And she will look like at
Victoria-
everyone.
Victoria raises her eyebrows and then just goes back to her notes.
I don't think you're cleared, Luther.
He
I gotta be
is-
honest.
I'm gonna
Let's
sort
just
of.
say I'm not bringing you in just yet.
There's no need to. Look, we could use your help. Do you?
well, I'm
No.
a little useless right now.
Well, okay, but at night we could definitely use your help. Do you have heightened senses? Can you sense others like you around?
Well, I haven't been around another one of me, so I can't say if I would sense them at all. I can say
Can't say no.
Can't say no. Can't say no. And I'm more resilient than observational, let's say. I can take
Okay.
a lot of punishment, but, you know, it's not like I have magic senses or anything like that.
All right.
I can
So-
say that from the past cities and everything, every victim seemed to be unrelated. So we've got all of Silver City open to us for this evening. Historically, based on everything that I've tracked and heard in these clippings, they happen 3 nights in a row, 1 per night, and then moves on to the next city. This has happened once a month for the last 5 months. So there have been 5 cities before this one. And it happens in a row. So we got to get out there tonight and be looking. It's going to happen again if it happened last night.
I don't want to give you too much information, you know, maybe make myself more vulnerable, but generally, you might want to look for shacks like this one, or burrows, or caves, or anything you might, you know, have heard of around town that something could be sleeping in. If it's anything like me, but there's all kinds of stuff out there.
There is all kinds of stuff, but this stuff, the evidence does kind of match up your MO, so. Not you specifically, but like, you know,
Thank you.
those with your ailment.
I'm worried it might be
Condition.
another one like me that's not, how do I say this, monstrous, because the ones that we encountered before were horrific and not as handsome and charismatic as myself.
Gotcha.
Of course not, Luther.
Who
Never.
knows? Maybe it's a young one that you can raise as your own, and maybe the two of you can figure it out together. Maybe it's a new vampire.
I have no idea. I've
know
never
what you
considered something like that.
I know what you were saying about having mentees, and I'm not exactly sure Luther's interested.
The mentor type, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, but if one of them is killing so many people, well, I would hope. I don't know. Maybe they're young and don't know what they're doing, or the other option is that they're really awful and doing this for a reason. So it's a lot of cities.
I mean, I guess that's something we should think about before we go in guns a-blazing and crosses pointing, right? Like, are we trying to figure out and give this person the benefit of the doubt, or are we just here to exterminate a problem?
I have to keep people from dying in my city.
So shoot first, ask questions later.
It's more like prevent it from happening to my citizens.
All right.
Maybe
Jesse,
preferably no shooting.
Do you know of any places that there could be, I don't know, somewhere that this creature could hide for the day?
I'm wondering if there's like a cave or something out on the outskirts of town that I might have stumbled across or something like that. I mean, it's Idaho. It's got to have something out there.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a d6.
I got a 6, which explodes if I have to.
No, that was just a luck
This
roll. So yeah, you know a couple different caves that might be suitable.
Also, do you have any silvered weapons of any type? Or stakes handy? Again, I feel like I'm giving you way too much info here that could be used against me at some point.
Don't make enough money to have a silver weapon. Got a knife.
Maisie will pull out her cross that's kind of sharpened at the edge.
Does that do anything to me then?
The cross itself, no.
Phew.
But the cross itself is made of silver.
Oof.
Oh, is it like a sharpened silver cross? That's really
Yes.
badass. Okay, yeah. So I'm like, whoa. Maybe careful with that.
Yeah, she'll put it away. But you asked, so I showed you.
I
You gotta make up your
appreciate it.
mind, Luther. You're happy to see me. You're not happy. I'm topsy-turvy in the middle of all these
Jesse
murders.
does have a silver knife from the very first episode.
All right, then maybe this is how you know you can trust me, because I'm giving you all the secrets, is that you'd want to aim for the heart with that bad boy.
Perfect.
Good to know.
Or just drag him out in the sun. I mean, last time I was out in the sun, it was very painful.
Let me ask, does rope contain your type?
Wait, what?
Victoria is making notes. Will rope hold you? Or can you just...
I mean, I've never roped a vampire, so I can't rightly say, but I'm fairly strong, but I'd assume enough rope might do the trick.
Good to know.
Can I trust her?
Yeah, of course you can.
All right, just checking.
Look, Victoria just likes to make sure that she's crossing all T's, dotting all her I's, making sure we have all the facts. It's what she's good at, and
Well-
it helps us in the long run.
I'll tell you this. I can't turn into mist or a bat or a wolf. I mean, those would be super awesome things to do, and I've tried, believe me, I've spent many nights trying to turn into one of those things. It does not happen. I can cross run in water, so that's true, or false. You can cross run in water. But otherwise, I'm I'm just kind of me, but stronger and have an unhealthy appetite for blood. And also, I have all kinds of crazy nightmares. But
Me too. You ain't special.
No, I think we all have nightmares.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's when you wake up. Anyway,
oh boy, ain't that right?
What's that mean?
it means that sometimes real life sucks.
Oh,
So Sheriff, do you know anywhere that you know, a cave, a hole, anything around these parts?
there's a spot outside of town that would be probably the right place, the right darkness for that. Yeah.
Well, it's still sunup, but that gives Luther the disadvantage, but it gives us the advantage on if this other person's like him, so I don't really know what the best play here is, folks.
I mean, I'm expending a lot of energy talking to you right now, like when I should be sleeping. So let's just say it may, if it's like me, it may be groggy or you might be able to do something. It would be better to try it now if you could find it. The backup plan is I just meet you in town tonight and we figure something out.
Yeah.
I mean, you already have 2 silver weapons. You're doing pretty good.
Just feels
Yeah.
like we'd do better if we had a vampire to fight a vampire.
Yeah, unfortunately though, I tried covering up. Did not work.
All right. Well, we'll go scout this area out. If we don't find anything, or if we do find anything, we'll just meet you in town when the sun sets.
I can find you.
He sure
Okay.
can. He found me and didn't even know I was here, and was, so trust his senses.
You just told me you didn't have heightened senses.
I got good
Yeah.
tracking skill. I used to be a bounty hunter.
All right.
Not
all right,
everything's about it being a kill crazy vampire.
I didn't say you were kill crazy. I just said vampire things.
I have a particular sense of humor now, so you gotta
Under
learn
her
to
breath.
laugh. What?
Under her breath, Victoria's like, kill crazy, and writes that down.
Luther, listen. Macy's gonna lean over a little. All right, now I'm real crass. All right, but you gotta. Some of these jokes ain't too funny when there's people dying.
Okay, so
And I had to learn
metagaming-
that the hard way.
Sorry. Metagaming wise, I have the edge gallows humor now.
I
So
love it.
so I guess
That
it would
is
be considered a
fantastic.
hindrance now, but that is what I'm leaning into. So yeah.
Oh no, it's amazing. I love
yeah,
it.
thank you.
But we're all very
Incredible.
stressed. Out of everybody here, Luther, I appreciate the humor. I do. I don't like that every time you say that you murder people, that there's more notes being taken down about you after I stuck my neck out on the line for you. So
That was an interesting choice of words, Macy.
it was because that's what it's starting to feel like, Finley.
Hmm.
You're all good. You're all safe. You're all good for me. Although, I guess I can ask Carrie. I mean, we've played it like they don't know, but I do have is it the Ruthless? No. I had like a reputation edge, so some people would have heard of me, and it's not a great like it's like kind of a feared thing. Like if this guy comes into town, watch out, kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah. Which is probably a good reason as to why, like, you're not staying in town.
Yeah.
Just in case somebody would recognize you. But yeah, you do run that risk. So what's the plan?
Well, yeah, we're gonna head out to this cave, and I'll meet you in town after the sun goes down.
Yeah,
Because I feel like I'm staying up all night waiting
Well,
to hear
I hope you're successful and you can just tell me the good report and I can be on my way.
Yep. Don't I wish?
Something tells me it's going to be that easy.
Yeah.
Has it ever been?
Yeah, it's just about to say. It's never been that easy.
Well, let's go take our odds with the cave.
All right, so
right.
the four of you are leaving. Luther is going back to sleep. All right.
Sleep well, Luther.
Good day.
Good night. Oh.
Jesse, you lead the way to one of the two caves that you know are in the area. Go ahead and roll another d6 for me.
That's a 2.
Okay. The first cave that you get to, it doesn't take long to realize there's nothing in here. It's not being used by anything supernatural or animalistic. Nothing. This is just an empty cave.
Another dead end.
Well, there's more than one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
Well, we shouldn't waste precious daylight. Come on,
Okay.
Sheriff. Lead
All
the
right.
way.
Done and done.
You begin leading the way towards the next cave. Everyone make a notice roll for me.
Seven.
My 6 exploded. I roll again.
Yeah, you'll roll the 6 again and then add that.
8.
Okay.
I got a 3 on my best one, so.
All right. So Jesse, you're more focused on direction right now. Like you're like, I know the cave is this way. I'm gonna go ahead and roll for Victoria as well. Victoria is kind of less focused on the immediate ground and more focused on the horizon, like trying to find, spot the cave from a distance. Maisie and Finley, the two of you are noticing as you're walking, there are certain branches that are broken here. Almost as if someone or something moved through these woods quickly. There are snapped branches, almost like a trail in certain places. It doesn't seem like a straight trail. But with the 8, Maisie, you see a couple different scratches across trees as well.
Yeah, she'll point out everything that she observes as they go. So she'll be like, there's some real serious scratches and claw marks. Just pointing at each one, keeping it going. But staying quiet for the most part. But definitely looping the crew into what she notices because she doesn't want to be the only one.
Are there any tracks, like instead of just, or is it just the claw marks and the branches?
Tracks themselves, but that would be really hard to see. There's so much like covering the ground itself. No tracks have been placed like into mud or dirt or anything, but lots of just broken twigs and branches everywhere.
Does it look like something I've seen before?
I think with the question that you're asking, survival is perfect.
Yeah. Or riding if you're trying to ride it.
That's Maisie. She was born in the saddle.
10, because my
10.
D4 exploded.
So ask me what you're really asking me.
The claw marks, do they look like the Wendigo claw marks that I saw on trees and things like that before?
They definitely do not.
Okay.
So that is probably somewhat of a relief as you're looking at these. But they don't look like any marks of like a bear or a wild cat or anything. They unfortunately don't look familiar, and that could almost be worse. But you know it is not that one terrible thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I will make note of that and then head closer to this cave, because that's the right thing to do when things are weird.
All right, are we trying to do this quietly?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, everyone moving forward, I would like for you to roll a stealth roll.
Can Maisie have her little, like, get her little cross ready, like in her hands, like just like a,
Sure.
you know.
I was gonna say I'm taking out my my peacemaker. Eight.
Maisie, do you want to spend a penny?
Yep, I sure do. You saw that look. Ugh. Okay. 7.
Jesse got a 16.
Holy shit. Jesse is not fucking around. Okay, so you have to move pretty slowly to move quietly in these woods right now. And even then, like, you're gonna make some noises here and there, but you pace yourselves. And the noises that you're making kind of blend with the natural noises of the woods itself. And you get closer and closer to this cave. I will say, with that roll, Jesse, you are a fair amount in the lead. I would like for you to make a notice roll.
I got a 4.
Okay. You're getting closer to this cave. You're looking in. You see the darkness. It's dark in there, but like if you were to step in, your eyes would adjust and you would be able to see what's in there. But for right now, it just looks black. It's just dark. And you're squinting, trying to see in, and there's one flash of a moment where all of you see someone. It is a human-looking figure. Someone dart out of this cave and begin sprinting in the opposite direction. What would you like to do?
Maisie,
I'm
what's it?
gonna try shooting it.
You go first.
All right, so you
I-
immediately pull your weapon. You start running. What does Jesse do?
I was going to try and tackle the person, but...
All right, so you want to rush forward as well. All of
Yeah.
that will be decided with some
Action
action
cards?
cards.
Yay!
Victoria is pulling a weapon, like, from her hip, but she is not going to fire this round. She is just keeping an eye. All right, so we have Jesse with a 10. We have Maisie with a 4.
Can I spend a penny?
Sure. I like to keep going and then pull your new one after. Finley with a 4.
Oh, I'm also spending a Benny.
Okay. We have Victoria with a 7. Take that. And we have this mysterious figure with a 9. We have Maisie's redraw with a 6. And we have Finley's redraw with a 6. What the fuck?
Weird.
Same first one, same second.
So, Jesse Richards, you are up first.
Yeah, Jesse is definitely going to run after this guy and try to tackle him to the ground, just to keep him in the spot. I'm not going to harm this person because it could just be a person who is hiding out in this cave. I don't want to harm them. I just want to stop them and ask them
All
what
right.
they're doing there.
All right, this is going to be opposed athletics, and okay,
Mine was a 5.
I got a 10. So,
Holy smokes.
My d6 exploded. So, describe to me what this looked like. Were you just lunging, trying to like bear hug? What did this look like?
I think he takes a couple, I think Jesse sprints a couple and then lunges at him to like grab his leg or wrap him up and bring him down. But he misses. Like as he leaps, the person just gets a burst of speed. And
yeah, you're very surprised because this person looks rather small. I mean, they don't look muscular. They're smaller than most of you here, actually. And as they are sprinting away, you lunge for them, go to grab onto them, but you see there is this quickness and this, like, too fast of a movement as you try to wrap your arms around that they just completely pull out of your grasp. Both of you fall from the lunge. You fall from the lunge itself. This person falls from like pulling out of your grasp, falls, runs, stands back up, and is just continuing to sprint. You see one quick like glance back, but it was so quick you couldn't really make anything out as you land hard on the ground and they are still sprinting. And it is their turn. And they are going to keep sprinting as fast as they can. They are moving as fast as they can through these woods. They are trying to like duck behind trees to try to make you lose sight of them. Victoria drew a gun at the beginning of this, aimed it, was watching, and the further away that this person gets, Victoria's gun just kind of lowers to the ground. Finley, what would you like to do?
Well, I was gonna shoot, but I'm just gonna take after it. Like run after it if I can. That's gonna be me.
All right, so you had your gun up and aimed, and then there's this moment of like, fuck, and you just lower the gun and just sprint forward. Okay, Maisie, what would you like to do?
Maisie's booking it on foot after this person. And that's her first goal, is to get close enough to throw a knife.
Okay.
So she's running. Running is her main priority. So.
All right. So both of you are sprinting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will say, with this, we have one more round. If this person gets away from you in this round, cinematically, you could still, give chase or however you want to do cinematically, but as the player, you can't catch up to them. So you have this one final round. Jesse, with a 4.
Get rid of those cards.
No more 4s.
Maisie, with a queen.
Ooh.
As she should.
Finley, with a 9.
Spending a fucking penny. I want to be higher.
Amazing.
That thing's gonna pull. Maybe I shouldn't have. I'm still spending a penny.
Okay.
The more cards drawn, the closer you get to a Joker, though. So
True.
yeah.
Victoria, with a 4. I'm gonna take it. Victoria's like, I don't want to chase this thing through the woods.
I don't blame her.
I don't want to do that. Yes. And then we have this mystery person with an ace.
Son of a gun.
We have
Sweet.
Finley's redraw. I was so hoping for a Joker for you.
So was I.
Fucking was.
Oh gosh.
I will be nice though and let you take the 9. Finley and Maisie, you are like side by side sprinting forward after this person. You are running. You are following them. Your eyes are on them. They're darting. Tree. And then you lose sight of them. You run a few more paces and then you both just kind of like stop at the same time and are looking around. You just hear your heavy breathing as you're looking around, and there is suddenly just no trace of this person.
Well, shit. I think we fucked up.
Yeah. I have not been doing any form of exercising as intensely as I was before. That is where I fucked up.
Oh,
Where did it go?
I have, and I still fucked up. So, you know.
Did you even get a glimpse of it?
With that question, I will say the three of you, please make a notice roll, and I'll tell you what you saw in these flashes of moments.
Yes.
I exploded twice.
Yes.
12 plus 4. 16.
I got a 16 too.
Hey!
We can't keep having the same cards drawn for us too.
Jesse got a 7.
So, Jesse, with that 7, you didn't see any, like, vampiric features, if that makes sense. You also they were out in the sun. You didn't see their skin burning. You saw dingy clothes, like they haven't been washed in a while. Maisie and Finley, you were able to see a young face. You're pretty sure this is a teenager, maybe just under 20. This was a young person. And you were definitely able to make out during one moment of this person glancing back to look back at Jesse. You saw a look of fear.
Well,
I told Luther he was gonna have to adopt somebody, and kind of seems like I was correct.
Shit, Finley, you might be right, but did you notice how afraid of Jesse that person was? That I'm gonna say person looked like a person, faster than a person, but
Whatever they are, they were definitely scared. I don't know why, unless we
I ain't
them.
never seen nobody that scared of Jesse. Personally.
I don't think I have either.
Good sheriff, strong,
Nobody's
but real
afraid
sweet.
of Jesse.
He surprises
Nobody's
you like that.
Yeah, I don't know why he would. I don't know why he would scare this person, or why we would. I mean, we did sneak up on them.
I know, but we felt a little inconsequential. We didn't get those big old terror eyes our way, you know? We should go back. And Maisie's just gonna, like, start tracking back a little uncertain.
I need a minute. I will be right back. I just need a minute to catch my breath, and then I will walk with you.
No, I
just like literally like wheezes, like holds like old man, like knees, like hands on the knees, like wheezing for a
Maisie
second.
will not leave. Maisie will like put a hand on Finley's shoulder and be like,
"We're good,
I ain't leaving you out here when people are getting killed.
Oh, it's fine. Trust me.
I trust you to handle yourself, but we can walk back together.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I'm good. I just needed to get it out of my system. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think Jesse's going to go into the cave now that we know that whoever was in there is gone. I'm going to go in and just poke around to see if I notice anything that's in there.
Yeah. As you go in, Victoria was one step ahead of you, already kind of walked in and was looking around. In here, you see like the remains of a campfire and what kind of looks like it was probably a rabbit or something that has been eaten. And Victoria is actually holding a like sewn up really patchy bag, like a little satchel.
Mm-hmm.
She's holding it up and kind of glancing inside, and it's mostly empty. There's some, like a couple pieces of jerky in there, and maybe another set of really patchy socks. And she just kind of holds this out towards you. This is all that was in here.
No identification, nothing like that, just a Well, clearly it's somebody who's down on his luck and scared for his life. I'm going to set it down to where it was. I'll probably, if there's like a pocket or something on there, I'd probably take like a silver dollar or something and put it in the pocket and just leave it there. I was like, I think we scared him more than he needed to be. And maybe we'll run into him again. Maybe I can get him some help or something. Good job in town or something. If that's what he needs. So we're bust on 2 caves. Guess we're meeting up with Luther.
Yeah, maybe we're better off with Luther's tracking skills.
Yeah. And I'll walk out.
Whenever Maisie and Finley make their way back huffing and puffing, Maisie would just kind of like scrutinize Jesse a little bit and just be like, hey, so whatever that was real afraid of you, Sheriff.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he didn't want to get caught.
Well, yeah, I reckon, but I'm not sold on that just being a person. I mean, who moves that fast?
Someone who's scared? Someone who doesn't want to get caught?
Victoria smiles. Someone who's young.
Okay. I mean, I guess we could chalk it up to just being some random person, but I'm still suspicious.
Well, what we found in there didn't amount to much anyway. Just a bag of raggedy clothes, and we kind of spoiled his dinner.
At least we know this person eats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
Or maybe
so.
not the person we're looking for at all. Maybe just I mean, they did move pretty quickly, which was a little concerning. I mean, we lost them in the woods. Disappeared. Like mist.
Didn't stand a chance. No
Well,
matter
there's a
how fast.
there's a half-cooked rabbit in there. I don't think he's going to be biting any necks.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't sound like it if that's what's in there. So,
Do we know Luther doesn't eat at all besides blood?
I can't say we asked him that. So,
Well, we can add it to our list of questions to ask when we see
the
him.
ever-growing
Thank you,
list.
Victoria.
Yeah, Maisie would
It's
immediately
like
look
Victoria's
at Victoria.
Victoria's gonna have an interview with a vampire at this point.
Oh,
Hey, yo!
there you go. The next novel. There we are.
So, I mean, what... Shit. Carrie, what time is it now?
We need a shit counter. Like every time Maisie says shit.
Yeah.
And how many times it makes me laugh. I'm pretty sure the counters are the same.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at like, I don't know, late afternoon now at this point. But I mean, we can definitely say we head back to town and just kind of wait for nightfall, if you would like, unless there is anything else you want to investigate in particular. Or if you want to go wake Luther up again, that's always a possibility.
No, that poor guy.
No, he's cranky when we wake him up.
Yeah.
So
He'll just say more shit to add to Victoria's list. We don't really need to do that right now. I think then Maisie would kind of dust herself off a little bit from trudging through the woods, and so nowhere else we should really look immediately without Luther, I reckon. Because if a young human could outrun us, then a vampire sure as hell will, and maybe at least then Luther could tackle him if we run into him,
Yeah. I guess we should head back and just see what's happening in town. If anything.
I mean, shit, somebody might be dead.
I hope not.
I mean, I hope not,
That's
Sheriff.
extremely morbid.
Yeah.
But, based on the timetable, 3 days in a row.
It could be. It could be. Yes.
I'm just being realistic.
I also want to check. I want to ask around town to see if anybody has seen anything unfamiliar, like new people besides my friends or things like that, because there's got to be an extra body that I'm not seeing.
Okay. Who do you ask? Anyone in particular?
I'm going to ask the business owners if anybody came in looking for work. And I'd probably ask the saloon if anybody came in for a drink. Like an unfamiliar person came in for a drink.
Okay. I will say on the work front, that doesn't really bring up much. No one's been asking for work for a while. It's been a pretty
Well, to be fair, there is one job to be filled. But
that's fair. But before that, no. As for the saloon owner, I mean, they definitely, I mean, they have 2 rooms. They know one room is rented out to Finley and Victoria right now. This is their first time seeing Maisie. But no one new has come in for a drink. Everything's been the usual suspects.
Dang. Okay.
You looking for someone in particular, Sheriff?
No, I'm a little perplexed at the death we've had over last night. Trying to see if anybody was around that I didn't see, because
You don't think a person did that, do you? That was clearly an animal of some kind, right?
there was a bite, that's for sure. A definite bite of some kind. I just I have trouble thinking that an animal can do that much damage to some of the property that was inside. It looked like there was an obvious struggle, and I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Question, DM. So based on watching the sheriff talk to people, do we get the impression that Jesse has pretty good regard here in town?
You do. You get the impression Jesse is well liked and also respected.
Gotcha.
But you also get the sense of there's kind of a layer of fear. The town has never had to see Jesse deal with something like this before, and there's a lot of unknowing. Like, they're not sure how it's going to be handled. So it looks less of a person talking to a sheriff and more of a person talking to a person.
Maisie would come up and kind of clap a hand on Jesse's shoulder and look between the person that Jesse's talking to and him and go, well, we might not have a lot of leads right now, but if anybody's going to keep y'all safe and get this sorted, it's going to be your sheriff here. I've seen him do some pretty spectacular things in my time, so I wouldn't worry too much, but if you see anything, you should let him know as soon as possible.
There's a pause, kind of a looking between the two of you, trying to figure out the history here exactly. And then there's this moment of,
Maisie's just staring. You just seemed a little worried, and I wanted you to let you know that, there's plenty of us that have seen your sheriff handle some really rough situations. he won't speak up for himself. He's too damn nice, you know?
Well, I can attest to that. And then he just kind of holds his hand out to shake your hand, Jesse, and says, I know we're in good hands, Sheriff.
Absolutely, and I'll shake his hand back and just say, if any of these patrons give you trouble, let me know.
Oh, I will. And he kind of like looks over to Victoria Glass with like a squint, and she's like, "What?"
I'm just dead eye glaring at that person now.
If I catch sight of that, I'll be like, "Oh, that's the least of your worries."
Yeah, I'm right here.
There's like this nervous chuckle, and then he returns to his work. What now? Do we just kind of hang out in the saloon and wait for Luther, or is there any other manner of business he'd like to take care of?
Where was the house? Was it on the outskirts of town? Like, if I were to look at the map of the town, would I, not that there's a pattern yet, but like, would I be able to glance and say, like, he probably, whoever came from this side of town, or did they have to travel through town, or anything like that?
What do I want to have? Do you have any skill you would like to try to use to decipher this, or would you rather just roll like a smarts roll?
I would gladly do a smarts roll at this point. Yeah. A 5.
Okay. So, Jack Riley's house is on the outskirts towards the entrance of town. The entrance of the town. So it's kind of near where the railroad stop is. It's not the first house, but it's very close to the entrance itself.
Okay. So you'd have to pass it coming into town.
Yes.
Which probably means that this thing is either in town proper or near by. Any place in town that is relatively dark during the day that I would know.
The saloon itself is kept pretty dark. Other than that, it would kind of just be people's home preference. Businesses themselves, not particularly. But everywhere would have a dark,
dark area of some sort, like shutter it up.
Yeah.
I then am going to take a little patrol of my town, looking for shuttered rooms.
You're not going alone. The hell?
Of course not. You guys can accompany me. That's not a problem. But I would definitely like to just walk around until night falls, looking for buildings on that side of town that are there where there's some sort of shuttered window or something like that, just to take notice of.
Maisie would not splitting up is not an option, or at least no one going solo. She would like make sure she's got all of her weapons and stuff ready and be like, all right, Sheriff, teach me what a patrol's all about.
Okay. So we'll just walk. I don't even know how many buildings are in my town. I would say like there's 2 sidewalks, and he's just like walking up one. He might duck down an alley, check to see, turn back around, come back, go back behind one, just checking to make sure everything's normal. And I think most of the town has probably seen me do this on occasion, just when I have nothing better to do in my office. And So I would probably say hellos to people who normally say hello to me. Introduce Maisie as my friend, who's staying in town for a couple days. Anybody else who's with me, I don't know who else is taking that patrol with me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does Finley go as well, or
I almost want to stay behind. Mostly just to keep an eye on the saloon itself, but also around the area.
perfect?
So yeah, I'll stay in the saloon.
Okay. So I think as Jesse and Maisie head out and Finley and Victoria are still sitting at like one of the little tables, Victoria kind of watches them go, looks at you, Finley, and just asks, "Is there a history there?"
Most likely, I have no idea. My eyes and my ears are closed. Whatever happens, happens. Why do you think?
I'm just saying.
Oh, I guess I hadn't put two and two together, but that makes sense.
I mean, I don't know, but I don't know.
Well, I trust that
something.
you got your instincts, so I trust your instincts.
Yes, and she looks down at her book and is like flipping through the like 6 pages of notes she's already taken.
Are you gonna need another notebook while we're here, or
Probably.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
keep it in mind.
Jesse and Maisie, you are patrolling the town. Go ahead and both of you make a notice roll for me.
Oh, yay. Oh, yay. See, this is where we remember that Kristen can't do fast math. 17. There we go.
Whoa! Jesse only got a 5.
Maisie sees through everyone's soul.
Maisie knows exactly what's happening behind all of these walls.
Yeah, exactly. She's like,
Jesse's oblivious to it. He's like,
I don't know what's going on in my town. What are you talking about?
There are shutters closed here and there, but not in a way that makes you suspicious. Not in a way that would completely block off one room, you're assuming. No homes or businesses seem like they are hiding anything from what you can tell from the outside. You might pop into a couple of them, people say hello. Maisie, you are noticing that as the sun, it's not going down yet, but it is, I mean, getting a little lower. The sun will probably set within the next hour or so. As it is getting darker, you can see that the mayor is actually kind of coming out of her home to kind of walk over and is... I'll say with that role, it looks like she's kind of doing the same thing you are. She seems to be looking around, making sure businesses are getting closed up, making sure people are, bringing their kids inside, kind of like waving, saying hello to people, but also being like, you should get inside, it's getting dark. She's not being as discreet about it as you are, probably. You kind of have this like charm over as you're doing it. She is blatantly like, please go inside. Just a precaution, this and this. Like, she's definitely scaring some people, but with her overcaution, she's scaring some people. And that is clearly noticeable for you, Maisie. Jesse probably doesn't really notice that too much. It's just the mayor being friendly. You don't really hear what she's saying exactly. She's friendly in general, so it's nothing new for you.
Your mayor usually this over involved in the evening?
I'll look over and say, she's being about as friendly as she usually is.
She's scaring your town folk, right?
At that, Jesse will look around and see if people are are a little on edge. And
Yeah, you see her almost like picking up children's toys from the yard and like handing them to the kids, and it's like, go on inside now. And the kids are like, and just kind of walking.
You know, Sheriff, fear causes chaos, and chaos gives a lot of room for more death.
I do understand that. And he's gonna walk over to the mayor and say, "Evening, Miss Mayor.
Evening, Sheriff.
Um, Miss Mayor, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. But we should probably keep a nice even keel in front of our constituents. Otherwise, they're going to get scared, and scared people do really dumb things."
Maisie's just mad dogging behind him. Just like,
You're right. I wasn't. Truth is, I'm a little afraid. I didn't think about that.
It's okay to be afraid. It's just that being a leader, sometimes you have to, well, one of the best leaders I ever knew was calm in the face of danger. Got to keep a clear, cool head. And think straight.
Maybe it would be better a curfew of sorts. Maybe it would be better coming from the town sheriff rather than the crazy mayor.
Oh, I don't think you're crazy for asking for that, and I can definitely do it. I'll let them know. Would you like to set the time?
Nightfall?
Okay. I'll let everybody know.
Thank you, Sheriff. And she kind of looks at Maisie, doesn't have an expression at your expression, and then turns and begins heading back to her home.
So I'll go around and let everybody know that there is a curfew of nightfall. And
yeah. Maisie will flit around with him, letting everybody know, being a little bit louder and annoying about it, probably.
Perfect. And Luther, what would you like to do after darkness falls on Silver City?
I want to make a cool entrance. So, you know, I don't know where the rest of are they hanging outside? Are they inside somewhere? What are you guys doing when it's dark?
I believe at nightfall I'll be outside of the sheriff's office, just sort of standing there, keeping watch of my town.
So you'll just... Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think everyone probably reconvenes at nightfall, knowing that you're waiting for Luther. So they're probably all kind of standing near the sheriff's office, just waiting.
So you'd be looking around, and then you'd see me just standing on the roof. Something like across the street or something like that.
Well, shit, Luther! Say hello!
And I just wave. And then, like, I'll jump down and, like, slide down a drain pipe or something like that and walk on over.
Almost silent as the boots slam into the sand.
So, you kill that vampire yet?
We struck out on finding a vampire.
Well, that's too bad. Find anything?
Scared teenager?
Great.
Nothing suspicious in town here. Nothing I can see.
Fantastic. Well, looks like I gotta do your job for you.
Hey, Luther, do you eat food?
What kind of food?
Like rabbit?
I
steak.
can. Well, I can eat. You're talking human food.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can, but it tastes like bitter ashes. It's disgusting. I can eat it and chew it and swallow it, but it's the most disgusting thing you've ever tasted.
Mm.
So I tend to stay away from it, but if there's a situation where I'm trying to fit in with society, I have that option. I just kind of got to keep my mouth mostly closed.
If you were to do that, you would eat it cooked?
I don't think it matters what if it's cooked, uncooked. It's all the same to me. No nutrients, no satisfaction at all.
Gotcha.
I used to like food. One of the
Did you have-
downsides to the curse.
Guess it is a curse, huh?
A little one. Slightly life-altering. So, we gonna rustle up some vampires or something tonight? What's the plan?
I don't even know how to track these things. So if you know of anything, the
We're
last,
gonna really need your help.
yeah, the last, victim, and help point down towards the depot, lived in a house on the way into town. But I don't know
All right.
where to look from here.
I immediately start walking that way, and then I'm going to start looking for unusual footprints or anything that I could follow from a survival tracking type of perspective.
Okay.
And my vampire dart isn't going off, is it?
It is not.
Okay. I don't know if I have one, but just gotta check.
Vampire spidey sense.
No spidey
Yeah.
senses are tingling.
Darn it. Thought it could be easy.
All right. So I'll make a roll then if that's approved.
Yes.
That would be a 6.
Okay. It takes you a little while. You're mostly just trying to pick footprints apart in this thoroughfare for a little while, kind of moving over to alleyways, trying to differentiate these footsteps. And you're about to give up when you're noticing one set of footprints that's kind of leading more into an alley. You almost see they begin to drag slightly as they are walking. There are shoe prints, and then these shoe prints begin to drag, and it almost looks like this person leaned up on the side of a building, and then they drag heavier to the other side of the building. And then that's when it gets a little confusing, because it looks like they take off running after that. And it's hard to pick what footstep belongs where. And as you're kind of processing this, all of you hear a loud scream. It pierces the night air, and it's coming. You immediately look in the direction that is coming from, because it's coming from the mayor's home. Your eyes dart in that direction. You see up on the balcony, you see Mayor Regina Jefferson has been pushed over the railing. She is hanging on to the railing for her life, and you see a figure on the balcony itself. What do you do?
Running that direction and yelling, "Oh, I solved the case. Criminals this way."
Jesse's running towards the mayor to try and help the mayor in any way, shape, or form.
All right.
I'm doing the same.
Booking it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
everybody just takes off running in that direction. as you're getting closer, the figure retracts into the house. You see, it's almost as if they saw you coming, and they immediately just pull back into the house itself. Regina Jefferson screams again, and you see one hand kind of slip from the balcony railing itself, reaching up and trying to hold on again, but she's not going to be able to hold on for much longer. And that is where we are going to end session 1.
No! No! Wait!
No,
that's
no,
not
no,
how we're
no,
supposed
no.
to do this!
Oh, there's cat
More cattage.
atrocities being committed.
Cat crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Cat crimes at 8.
The CCTV, the Cat Crimes TV.